Welcome everyone to another episode of our heart-powered inspiring interviews. And as you know, every time we have an amazing guest with us, and today we have a very special lady. Her name is Karen R. Jenkins, and Karen is the president and CEO of KRJ Consulting, a full-service consultancy firm providing companies and their employees with the skills and resources to really become more committed to their performance, empowered to affect change, and to be prepared for the journey ahead. And I think we're all going through quite interesting times right now. We need the support of Karen to really get ready and prepared for the journey ahead. And she has more than 30 years of experience, and she's a recognized speaker, author, and leadership consultant, equipping executives with the necessary tools to create results-driven organizational change. Karen, it's amazing to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great, Karen. I know, even right now we're going through quite some turbulent times, right? What keeps you upbeat and positive and vibrant, and as we call it, in the vortex? What do you do? What keeps you in that positive space?
So Monique, the first thing I do, and I have to do this, is I have to protect my heart. And how do you protect your heart? There's so many distractions, there's so much noise, there's so many negative things out there that I have to limit the amount of negativity that I allow in my circle. So I limit television, I limit the news, because they're equipped and designed to keep us elevated in turmoil and what's ever going on in the world. And if you're focused on those things, you can't focus on the things right in front of you. If your emotions are taking a ride and you're in that bad space, you're not going to be as effective when you're working on your task or working with your family or being there with your children or talking to your staff. So protecting your heart is one of the main things that I do in limiting those outside barriers that might have a negative impact on what I do day to day.
Great, fabulous. And I know, even the consulting world right now goes through quite some challenging times, right? Where a lot of us, are not working with our clients physically anymore, but now we're doing more work online. That's just one of the major changes that we are facing right now, and business leaders face in the world. So what do you do right now specifically, and that you would recommend also our amazing hot-powered entrepreneurs and business leaders to be inspired by and try out? So what are the three things you do in your business right now to bring your business to a different level? Because I know, Karen, your business has been growing significantly year after year after year since you launched it. You've been awarded in many, many ways. You're always celebrated as one of the leading business women, not only locally, but really nationally across the US. And so what are the three things you do right now to bring your business again to the next level?
So they're two parallel worlds, right? There are two parallel realities. There's before COVID and then there's now. So before COVID, the strategies that we employed was we wanted to diversify our current client base. So right now we do primarily federal contracting, and we want to diversify and get more into companies and small businesses and working and supporting them. And to do that, we completed and came up with an actual strategy. So to say I want to do something is one thing, but to have the plan of, okay, here's the vision of where I'm going, and then to have the plan, here's are the steps that I need to take to be able to accomplish those things, is that strategic plan that you have to implement, monitor, and react to when it's not going in the right direction. The other thing that we did, because, and you and I talked about this earlier, it's people do business with people, not companies. So we are building relationships. We are connecting with people. We are letting people know and see who we truly are to ensure that we align, that our core values align, that our thought processes align, so that we can ensure that we provide support. And then from there, I had to step back because with COVID, a lot of our strategies came to a pause. So that's where I recommend people pivot. And you say, what's a pivot? If you're familiar with basketball, you're dribbling a ball, right? And you can go forward and go back and go anywhere you want to as long as you're dribbling. But when you come to a stop, when you stop dribbling the ball, when you pick that ball up, and this is kind of what happened with COVID, we picked the ball up. You have a pivot leg that has to stay in one spot, but then you can take your other leg and go around. And what you're doing as a small business person or as a leader, if you're in a corporation, is you're scanning the perimeter. You're looking around to see what has happened. Because for every crisis that we have faced, there's always other opportunities that come out of it. You have some businesses that, unfortunately, because of what's happened with COVID, will go out of business. But there are other things that will arise, a new need that the consumer needs, a new need that a company needs, a new need that the government needs, that will arise. And if you are truly that aware, then you can see those additional opportunities and come up with solutions that now you can go and sell. You can talk to your customers and find out where their pain points. They have new pain points now that they didn't have before. And when you're listening and you're hearing them say, oh, well, I have this challenge, I have that challenge, then you're in a position to come up with that solution and go, oh, you remember when you told me you had this challenge? Well, let me tell you what I can do for you.
Right. I love that. And again, I love every single one. So let's go a little bit deeper into every single one, right? So the first one you mentioned is have a strategic plan. Mm-hmm. And we know that, a lot of entrepreneurs, again, the more your business grows, the more important the strategic plan becomes, right? Yes. So, in what way is when you're growing a business, when you think about it, when you launched your business and now you're running pretty much like you're turning over several million a year, right? So, in what way has the strategic plan changed for you?
So I'll tell you this, when I started, right before I got to the point where I did this strategic plan, I got to the reality where, we started from scratch. So it was nothing. We created this business and we went from, ground zero to here. And you get to this point of growth and you look around and you go, oh my gosh, it was a wonderful ride. It was a roller coaster ride, right? So there were ups and downs on this journey. And I realized I had learned so much on this ride. There was so much that I did not know as an entrepreneur. It was fun learning it. But the reality for me was that to go from here to here, that those skills that I had obtained would not take me from here to here. So I was at a point where, okay, I have to now look and find what other things do I need to know? And I don't know everything. So now you're talking about scaling. And when you scale, you have to bring in the resources to help you grow the business, because you might have been able to do it, or I was able to do it by myself for the most part internally from here to here, but there's no way I can take it from here. So the reality that I had to bring in resources, I had to bring in experts to help me grow. And then there was a different skill set that I had to go out and learn or begin to learn to prepare me for this new journey. But it appears to be so far, Monique, just as fun and exhilarating and challenging as the first one.
Absolutely it is. As they say, new level, new devil, and right, new level, new heaven, right?
Yes, yes.
And yes, there's, between devil and heaven, there's a lot of learning, right? So,
that's so true. That's so true.
So what were the things that you would say, once you had your business at a certain level and it was stable and then you really wanted to scale it, what were the skills that you felt you had to acquire to be able to really go from that initial stable level to really grow and scale your business?
The main thing as an entrepreneur that grew her own business was letting go. Oh, this is your baby, this is your thing. And, you have to trust other people. You have to bring other people in, and you have to be able to delegate that role to that person and trust that they will get that done. So for me, probably the biggest challenge was because I wore every hat, which meant that I knew where everything was, when it was, how it was. It got to the point where when you bring other people in and you delegate to them, you have to put systems in place to make you feel comfortable enough to let go, but trust them and know that they'll take care of it. Trust them and know. The other thing is, the thing that I had to learn was I could not do that if I did not have the right people in the right seats. I can't ask, the guy that is responsible for making the widget, the same person responsible for flying the plane. So now if I want somebody to fly the plane, I have to go find a pilot. I can't use the person that's making the widgets, the pilot, because they just don't have that skill set. And that was a lesson that I had to learn, because I was very loyal to my team members that were here, that took me from here to here, and the people that we brought on board. But the people that get you from here to here, just like your skill set may not be the people that get you from here to here. And it doesn't mean they have to go away. It's just maybe they don't play as heavy a role as they've played in the past.
Yeah. And so many exciting, learning and decisions to make to really step up further. And I think the second thing you mentioned that you really focus on is like building relationships, right?
Yes.
And again, that
Yes.
helps big time, especially when you want to grow your business and scale your business. Also, the same, like, relationships are so important when you are a speaker like you and I are, right? And we want to
Right.
open new
Right.
doors to new stages and you open up new opportunities. So, I mean, obviously, our HeartPowered Global Nation, Karen, right? So, and all of you also that are watching this today, if you're not part of our HeartPowered Global Nation, join us there, because that is the place where you can connect with other entrepreneurs and business leaders and speakers and build these kind of, connections and collaborations. So, what are some of your success strategies to connect with the right communities, the right people? What do you do to really expand your network, to build the relationships that help you go to the next level?
So one of my mentors here locally tells me or has shared with us locally about paying what we call your civil rent. And that's where you serve, where you give back. The rewards pay for themselves. So when I say build strategic relationships, for me, it's not about building a relationship to, knock on somebody's door and say, hey, Monique, hire me, because why would you? If you've had a group of people or even a product. I asked somebody the other day, because I coach small businesses as well. And the young lady was saying she wanted to go in business and she wanted to do some things. And I said, okay, fine, well, that's good. But who's your ideal client? And what's your unique selling proposition? Why would somebody, want to buy from you? And she kind of stuttered. I said, well, let me ask you this. What kind of detergent do you use? And she told me, she said, well, I use Tide and Dawn. And I said, okay, fine. So now Tide and Dawn is here. That's your go-to product. And somebody else comes in with another, dishwashing liquid or a laundry detergent and say, hey, look, I want you to use me. And you're like, but wait a minute, I'm happy with and I'm loyal to Tide and Dawn. Why would I use your other product? Now, Dawn, when they came on the scene, they were different because there was Joy and some other ones. And their differentiator was that they cut grease and you didn't have to put a whole can, a whole bottle of the Dawn in the dishwashing liquid to get the same effect. So they have cornered the market with a differentiator. So what is yours? What is it about you that somebody would want to come in and use your service? Well, if you don't know exactly what, or if yours is kind of similar to someone else's, maybe it's about the relationship. Maybe it's about how you went in and added value from a service perspective. So for me, I'm paying my civil rent now. I'm going out and joining various boards. I'm serving the community. I know by serving the community, I will be at the table. I will have access to certain people, and they will see me. So I believe in what I call pull marketing, where I'm not pushing myself and going out and saying, hey, Monique, do this for me, do this for me. I'm doing, let me go out and show you who I am and show you what I'm about, my authentic self. And then hopefully you will come and ask me to provide you with the service. And it won't, and so that's the pull part, where you are attracted to me based on who I am and what I offer and what you see me doing in the community. And that's how you, I think, build authentic relationships.
Absolutely. I love what you're saying. And, I mean, it all comes back to really being of service, right? I mean, you spoke about authentically and about unapologetically speaking about who you are and what you do and what you have to offer, right? And there's so many people that hold back on things like this, right? That's why from time to time, we also run like these visibility boosters challenges with people to really get them to step out of their comfort zone and overcome the imposter syndrome and really show up unapologetically, right? And you also said, and the other thing is, show up as who you are, right? But then the other thing is also, as you said, be of service, find out what people need and want and just make them shine, right? And, don't walk around, thinking about what can they do for me, right? And it's just this little switch of approach that opens all the doors, right? So it's so powerful. And Karen, the third thing you mentioned, which I love equally, because I mean, we're entrepreneurs. No matter what times we go through, we need to keep reinventing ourselves and our business
Right.
constantly, right? You know, like, and I loved your example of the basketball and the dribbling, right? So, in what way have you taken advantage of that approach over the last couple of months, especially, to really pivot your own business and adapt again to the changes that you're facing in the consulting world right
So
now?
it really kind of evolved and it happened so naturally. So I mentioned that, I do every other month, I do some free mentor coaching for small businesses within our community, a little group called Eat, Learn, Grow, where people would just come and want to have lunch with me to pick my brain. And at the time when I was smaller, I had time to do that. And as I've grown, I don't. So I do it in a group setting now. And all they have to do at the time before COVID was just pay for their lunch and we would meet and talk. And now we're doing it virtually. So what happened was when we went COVID, I immediately went and did a virtual session for them to talk about all the challenges that they were facing at the time and kind of give them some strategies of what they could do. And then my clients I started hearing clamoring from them. So our pivot was we created a program called Crisis to Confidence, Leading Through Uncertainty and Crisis, because this was real. We offer change management as one of our product offerings and working with our clients because change is one of those things where either you have a process that doesn't align with the people or the people that don't align with the process. There's always a problem. But then when you make that change, because people are creatures of habit, if they don't necessarily buy into that change, their resistance can cause you some unnecessary challenges that you necessarily want as a leader. So those are some of the things that we do within in the scope of what we offer. But this thing is a parallel reality because as I mentioned earlier, for every challenge that we've had the thing happen, the crisis, it was over, and then we came into recovery. Well, this thing has happened and it's still happening and it's still happening and it's still happening and it's still happening. So where is the end? And then how do you adapt to that? How do you change to survive? There's physical, mental survival things that are going on with people just on an individual basis. There are companies that have been just devastated because they had to close their doors. There are other businesses that are, I had to transition from working in the office to now working teleworking, and how do I effectively manage that? So we created this program to help people embrace the challenge of the change. And we do it through our Synergy Leadership platform where we engage, enlighten, and empower so that people can bring all of their gifts, talents, and energy together to accomplish whatever goal that they're trying to accomplish. So one of our pivots was just that, just creating this platform that we offer virtually to our clients. There's a free version if anybody wanted to get access to it, just the intro part, and it's packed with content. It's packed with, here's some tips, some concrete things that you can do to make sure that you move on. And then if they want a deeper dive, they can go and look at the program. But our pivot is now looking at online offerings for our clients that they can do from the privacy of their home.
I love it. And thank you for your generous offer. Maybe you can share the link with us and we can share it with everyone in our community. So that's lovely.
Absolutely.
Because
it's crisistoconfidence.com. Just real simple, crisistoconfidence.com.
Love it. Okay, great. That's easy enough for everyone to remember, crisistoconfidence.com, right? So thank you, Karen. And you gave us so many hints and tips on how to really step up and turn the challenges into opportunities and how to grow and scale the business, where you are just such an amazing role model for. I mean, you and I know that whenever we get inspired, when we learn something new, the best is actually to try something out right away, right?
Yes.
Turn our insights into action right away.
Yes.
So what is one thing that you would invite everyone that is with us today? What would you invite them to do? One concrete, suggested step they can take to really, step up into positive and really bring everything to a different level again.
So there's so many things. So definitely all the things that I talked about, and then, going in and finding out what their pivot is. But I'll tell you that the majority of people's success comes from their mindset. Where the mind goes, the energy flows. And when you are coming from a place of despair, when you're coming from a place of panic, when you're coming from a place of just fear and angst, you cannot look at, even when we talked about that pivot, you will have 5 or 6 opportunities pass you because you're so focused on something else, the negative and what's in the news and the crisis and all this other stuff, that you will miss 5 or 6 different opportunities that pass your way. So the question is, how can I get my mindset right? Because you can do all these other things well and do them effectively if you have the right mindset. So I recommend just a simple little tool, as I shared earlier in the beginning, that we have to protect our heart. So I'm going to say, when those things come to your mind, when you find, it's about being present. It's about being in the present moment. One of the things I share with people all the time is that as humans, we spend most of our time in 2 places. In the past, worrying about what happened, what was said, what happened to me, how it happened, when I said it, what I should have said. Or we spend the majority of our time in the future worrying about, oh my gosh, what is going to happen and how am I going to handle this when I get there, blah, blah, blah. But not much time is spent in this space right now, the here and the now, the present moment. That's where we're less stressed. That's where we can find our peace. And that's where we can find ourselves coming from a place of gratitude. And if you stay out of your head from the future, worrying about things that you have absolutely no control over, or worrying about the future, things that have happened that you cannot change because they've already occurred, your quality of life is right here. So the way that I try to practice staying present is, 1, being mindful. It's that consciousness. It's that being aware that you're hearing yourself speak in your head. So when you hear yourself saying stuff to you, that's your signal. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not being in the present moment. When you start talking to yourself, because you're probably not talking about what's happening right now, unless you have a really good piece of cake in front of you and you go, okay, that's going to taste really good. But other than that, you're someplace else. So having that conscious mind to be in the present moment, and then put your mind on something that you're grateful for. I don't care what is going on in our lives, and we all across this world are all facing the same crisis. There's so many other things that we can be grateful for, the little things. And if I ask everybody, and I'm going to ask you to do this, is to list 3 things that you're grateful for and place them on the front of your computer, so that when you have that moment, when you have that time of sadness, when that time of, oh my gosh, what is going on, what is happening, then you can look at those little things and say, here's what I'm grateful for, because that's going to shift your mindset. That's going to shift your energy. And that's going to put you in a place so that when those opportunities come, you can see them. When that thing hits you in your ear, you can hear it and you can stay in that place. And it's not easy. I'm not going to tell you it's easy, right? But it is a start. And for those of you who's like, okay, my life is so bad, I can't come up with anything. Okay, well, let me help you. There's oxygen running through your lungs right now. Let's be grateful for that. There's blood running through your veins right now. Let's be grateful for that. And you woke up this morning. So if nothing else, those are 3 things that you can be grateful for. So I challenge you, I've given you 3. So now you go find some on your own, your wife, your child, your family, things that you're grateful for.
I love that. And gratitude, as we know, is one of the highest vibration energies, right? And
yes.
So I definitely follow your suggestion and play along today. I'm definitely grateful for a gazillion things, even today, even in the current moment. And one thing I'm grateful for is us connecting again at a deeper level and getting to know each other and having this interview together, inspiring, others, which is great. Karen, I know some people might want to connect with you, learn more from you, maybe, have a chat with you. How can they connect? Where can they find you?
So our website is krjconsulting.com. That's krjconsulting.com. Or you can connect to me on LinkedIn at KR Jenkins, LinkedIn at KR Jenkins. And just as if you're connecting with me from viewing this podcast, please let me know that my friend Monique sent you my way.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, Karen, very much for being with us today. And all of you that are here with us, thank you for being loyal and, following us along and allowing us to inspire you and giving you little hints and tips, every week. And we are happy to have you in our HeartPowered Global Nation community. So come join us, connect with us, let us know what you need right now, how we can support you. And watch out, we'll be back with another amazing interview soon. And Karen, again, thank you very much for being with us today. So
Thank you
let's
for
connect
having me.
further, and all of you have a fabulous day. Take action on Karen's suggestion. Let's all be grateful and bring all of us into a greater space. And we'll be back with another amazing interview very soon. Have a fabulous day.
Thank you.